Hello everybody, this is our second dev commentary and I'm Konrad and I will tell you a little about our game Across the Valley. Across the Valley is a PlayStation VR 2 and Steam VR farming simulation that just released. And today I want to say something about how the game plays, what the game mechanics it has, and also give a little understanding of the backgrounds, why we decided to do some things the way they are, and so on. So first of all, as you can see here, everything you do in the game, you do it with your very own hands. Like watering the plants is not just pressing a button and then it's watered. Instead you grab the watering can and you need to water the ground. And if you miss some of the plants and a plant doesn't get enough water, it will just die. So it's really depending on the player's skill how good you divert the water between the plants. So in this case, covering everything with water is the goal, and if you succeed in that, most plants will, or usually plants will survive. Next up, there's the hoe. Hoeing sometimes looks a little different, so the best is to make clear strokes with the hoe. This costs less energy. At the front of the hoe you see a green bar which symbolizes your energy, and while you're digging through the ground you see as it gets less energy. The goal is to remove all the wheat in the ground before the energy runs out. If some wheat remains, plants that are close to this wheat might die. And next is the harvest bucket. When your crops are grown up, you can harvest them. Just take the harvest bucket and grab them, and there's nothing you can do wrong with that. We've discussed internally if you make this a mini game that can go wrong as well. So like if you drop tomatoes, they will splat and you lose them. But we decided against this because on one hand, you don't want to be punished in the very last moment when you made your crop survive so far. And on the other hand, it really depends on the kind of crop, if this does make sense or not. Like here, if you lose a tomato and it splats, that would make sense and would be somehow logical. But if you just lose some wheat, why should it break? Why should it go broken and be not in your inventory, something like that? So that's why we ultimately made it the way it is and said, okay, yeah, you just collect stuff, and when you collected all of your fruits, then the minigame is done. And you can do this, by the way, with remote grabbing. So when you hold the grab button, you see an orange ray, and everything within a reach of 2 meters will fly towards your hand and be grabbed. But you can also just grab it with your own hands and do this. Now currently Tom is using the shovel. The shovel, as the hoe, is a two-handed item, so you're holding it with 2 hands. And there are several ways how you can do this. The best is do it like you hold a shovel. And you can see it here with Tom that he's supporting with the left hand and his right hand is the main hand. You can grab the shovel in different ways, but yeah, you won't have full control over it. So yeah, Tom just seen above the fields are symbols. Every field that you own has a status depending on what crops are ripening there. So this field is empty as he just digged it up. So he takes some seeds and he's planting some plants. And as you can see, the better he covers the ground with seeds, the higher the percentage. This is shown on the small wooden board next to the field. And the goal is to distribute the seeds as evenly as possible. And the better you do that, the more plants will grow. Just simple. Oh, you got it perfect. Whenever you try the game, you will remember this guy does it perfect. So never tell me it's not possible. Okay, and now you see he has 18 out of 18 turnips planted. Each field will tell you what to do with a symbol above it. You would see there's one field remaining in the background that has a seeding icon, so Tom could seed some stuff there. If a plant needs water, there will be a water drop above the field, and if it needs be weeded, then there will be some weed above it. All the other fields that have no icon are done for today, and they will have a different task the next day. So that's the basic game flow. Each day, each field needs you to do something. Seed it out, harvest, rake it, or put some water on it. And also the status of these fields are shown on these small boards next to them and will tell you you're done for today or it needs water or whatever. To the chickens. Once your chickens are grown up, when you get them, they are quite tiny and small little hatchlings, but once they're grown up, they will lay eggs. And every day you can visit the chicken coop and collect some eggs. You can also leave them there for multiple days and then collect them all together. But don't leave them too long, because after 3 or 5 days, I think it's 3 days, they will start to vanish because they go rotten. And you should be careful when collecting the eggs. If you apply too much force, they may break, as you just seen. Your chicken needs some water and some food, but putting food into the food tray will be okay for 1 chicken for 10 days. So if you have 2 chickens, then it will dure 5 days until they run out of food. That's different for your big animals. Big animals need 1 unit of water and 1 unit of food every single day per animal. And there you see, there's a tiny little piglet. I think Tom just bought this the in-game day before, and it's still super small. It's Alina. So the animals, once you board them, first need to grow up until they produce some goods. Sheep can produce wool, they can be shorn, and cows produce milk, they can milk them, and pigs, once they're grown up, can go for truffle hunting. These are the most valuable items you can get, the truffles. But this piglet is so tiny, it takes a little until it goes, until it's big and mature, and you can go truffle hunting with it. Sometimes we call it poop day, so there will poop lie around in one of the enclosures of the animals. Then you need to take a shovel and just put it around. Don't tell anybody we told you, but you don't necessarily need to take a shovel to put the poop away. You can do it otherwise. But no matter how, you need to clear it off. Otherwise your animals won't be happy. Above every animal you see some symbols that symbolize the status of the animal. The first one is the poop status. If this is a full pictured colored poop bar, that means poop was removed, no poop there, as it is now. The second is the heart. If you cuddle your animal, the heart is red. And then there's food and water. If the animal has enough food and enough water, then these 2 symbols will be colored as well. So you see, for our cow Helga, everything's fine now. If you do not fulfill the wishes of your animals, their happiness will go down. So they don't become ill and no matter they will die. No. But they will get unhappy. So if you stop giving them the good food, like the cows get corn and the sheep get carrots, then they need to just eat the basic hay and get some water where, and then they get unhappy over time. And getting unhappy means they get unproductive, and it takes much longer until they produce wool and milk and truffles. So here Tom is at the shop cart. There you can sell stuff. You can use the big lever to switch between selling 10 times of the same item at the same time, or just selling 1 item at a time. And you can toy around a little. But to sell stuff, you simply just take it out of the shelf and throw it on the cart, and then it's sold and you get some money. Also, there's a order book. The order book is used to order new seeds for planting new stuff. And also you can buy some food with the order book. So if you don't have enough crops to feed all your animals, if you don't get enough corn and carrots and potatoes from your fields, then you can just buy corn, potatoes and so on. But it is much more expensive than just growing them by yourself. You see some tasks. The task board always shows you your next tasks. By progressing through the main task line, you unlock new stuff. So like new types of animals, more animals of the same type, new areas you can teleport to, new upgrades and so on. So it's basically like a quest line the easy way. And next to it, there are orders. Orders are like side quests. You can do them if you want to and gain some extra money, but you don't need to. It's up to you. There's one thing you probably already noticed. Tom is always teleporting from one point to another, and we've got some discussions on Reddit and other places as well about snap turning and free locomotion and so on. So let me explain how our locomotion works in Across the Valley. There are action points, and each action point has designated task and designated tools for this task around us. Like here, this field is one action point, and everything you need, the field itself, is directly in front of you. Every time you teleport to this field, you will always be rotated facing towards the field, no matter how you were rotated before. The other action point is where Tom was just before, the tools area. There you have seed baskets, you have the shovel, you have the rake, so every tool you need at these fields. So to seed out, yeah, again, perfect, whoa, amazed. To seed a field, you go to the tools area, grab the tool you need, and then you go to the field, and then you do it at the field. And every point you can teleport to is such an action point. Like this one is the bed. And at the bed you can do exactly one thing, going to bed. This ends the day and starts the next day. And these action points are spread around the whole farm. So when there's some place you can see that looks strange or good or something and you can't teleport there, then there's no need to teleport there. It's whether something you unlock later and you can't do now, or it's something that's sometimes just background. Like we've got some questions about the well, if you can go to the well and refill your watering can. And in hindsight, we thought about, yeah, it would be a neat idea, but unfortunately you can't in this way. So everything that you can do and everything you need to do is located at one of these action points. And to avoid having the player going manually the same ways over and over again just to move between these points, that's why instead you blink between these points. Otherwise you would just need to manually walk again always the same routes. And that's the whole design philosophy of the action point system. Oh, I think there just died 2 plants at Tom's field. Oh, these potatoes are hard. So that's the basic locomotion system of the game. We experimented with snap turning as a last-minute attempt. So for a preview version we sent out to some press and influencers. We added a snap turn feature as we were constantly asked from several sources about, oh, do you have snap turning? If not, why not? Everyone else has it. And it turned out, as we expected to add this as a late feature just 2 weeks before releasing, after a 3-year development phase, was a terrible decision. When seeing what the results were, this was not only that we introduced a bug with that's unfortunate as always, but also people try to snap turn because they are used to, and then they are constantly counteracting the action point system because the game itself wants to automatically rotate you so you're orientated perfectly. But when you then manually rotate yourself into another direction, you and the automatic system are constantly fighting against each other, leading to a situation where you hinder yourself, and yeah, that's not a nice thing. So that's it for the action point system. There's one thing you see here on the left, there are books everywhere. Each area, like the chicken area here, has a book with a question mark on it. These are the manuals of the game. Instead of just having some text hovering in mid-air. We wanted to have a very immersive way of learning how the game goes. Usually everything is designed to be self-explanatory, but when there's something that is not self-explanatory, just grab the manual and you can just flip the pages, like holding a book and flipping the pages as you would expect it to do, and everything is scripted, is written there, and so that's a perfect description in a way you usually would expect from a VR game. So Tom is back at his animals. You've just seen there's not enough food for the sheep there, and yeah, his little baby pig gets a little larger. You see the progress bar above the other symbols at the pig. This means how far it progressed maturing. And here we got the cow. This is one of the mini games, although we don't like to call it mini games, as this sometimes has some bad mood attached to it. But this is how you milk the cows. It's compared to, I would say not Beat Saber, but it's a rhythm game, and in the rhythm you need to pull the ducks, and to make it not that easy, you sometimes need to take the ducks that are on the rear side of the cow and sometimes the ones on the front side. And getting a good score is not that bad, it's not that hard. So like getting 3 milk cans is like always possible, even if you just do it once or 2 times. But getting a perfect score of 5 cans is really super hard. And that's what we were going for. We wanted all of the mini games to be easy, accessible, that they always give you a good result for your work, because in the end it's your animals, you care for them, you want some milk from the cow, you want some wool from the sheep and so on. But to get the best possible score, you really need to have some practice and play the game more than one time. Yeah. So, see, Helga needs a cuddle. And I think we're getting to the end of our developer stream. And if you have any questions, just post them in the comments. We will try to update as much as possible and answer all the questions. There's also a Reddit AMA on the PlayStation VR Reddit subreddit. But if you can't find it, just look for him. And there's a lot of questions that we answered there. So thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.